This is Charlie Parsons for Boxing Social here in a little esports centre in Abu Dhabi. Delighted to be joined here with Eddie Hearn. Eddie, how are you, mate?
Absolutely unbelievable.
Are you on about what I think you're on about?
No, what?
I thought you were on about yesterday's laptop answer.
Is everyone aware of what happened?
No.
Okay, so yesterday we had a public workout. Unbelievable in the mall. I mean, like, just the way that the decor is made out in all these facilities that we're using. And right by the ring, there was a water feature, right? I don't know, a foot high?
Like minuscule, low. No, much lower.
Okay. Half a foot high. I mean, but you probably tell people on the internet you're 6 foot, right?
Because I am.
So anyway, so this water feature, which was quite spectacular, really smooth, wasn't it? So obviously if you imagine where it's tiled up, normally in a water feature, like the water would be down a few inches, like in a swimming pool. This one, the water was across the top of the patio, if you like, the tiling, and it almost looked like it wasn't water, it looked like it was a surface. So Parsons goes over and puts his laptop on the surface. However, it's not a surface, it's actually water, and your laptop floats, or doesn't even float, goes straight to the bottom of the water feature.
A little bit of an exaggeration, or maybe actually not an exaggeration because you weren't there to see it. The laptop was packing it in the night before, thought I was going to have to go and buy a new one, and that really did just kill it off.
But you did put your laptop in a water feature.
No, I briefly, it got a little bit. I didn't plunge it in like everyone's making out. Everyone's making out I fucking sent it for a swim. I didn't.
Yeah. But it still broke.
Yeah, I got a new one now, a better one. Big up Damon and Jack on that. Can we just appreciate my company who have just instantly, yeah, they were just like, right, new laptop, bosh. No, the company I work for.
Big up my company. I mean, this is the way that how you've changed. You know, a big up my company. Big up Parsons LLC. You know, but I was actually thinking about you the other day, Parsons, because I was like, I do like it because people now get the hump that I'm giving you loads of time, right? But I just think it's funny, and I like to see people do well, and I just laugh at you because I'm like, how has this kid just blagged it around the world?
Blagged it?
I think you're quite decent at interviewing, but the reality is, you're just some rogue from Cirencester, right? And somehow, like when you with your former employees where you started, no need to name names, you know, nice people, you popped out of nowhere, and I was like, who's this kid? And I thought he's all right. Like, I like seeing young people do well in the industry, and good luck to that kid. And I believe they stepped away from boxing, or you know, and all of a sudden you were left without a position and a job. And I thought that's a shame because we'll never see Parsons again. But you re-emerged with Boxing Social, and I kind of feel like, you know, they may be onto something with you, Parsons. You know, and I think people are going to enjoy the journey. So when I put you on my Instagram and give you a boner and give you 1.2 million of coverage, you know, obviously it's massive for you. But people are genuinely DMing me going, I like Parsons.
I'm going on Dubai FM next week. So.
Oh. But like, then I look at your Instagram and I just think, how funny, this kid swanning around Abu Dhabi. Like pictures of you in the pool. Do you know what I mean? Good luck to you, boy. It's good to see.
I will just say one thing. We are at 3 minutes 40 and the hardcores get a little bit angry when we speak too much. But David James Kerr sent me some clobber out. I said I'd give you a shout out in the video with you. They've sorted me right out. Sent me about £700 worth of stuff. So David James Kerr, big up.
Also, you say about the hardcores becoming unhappy. I feel like you're emerging through the hardcores, Parsons, and you are becoming a little bit of a mainstream star now. Now, this is going to upset a lot of people. All of a sudden, you're going to start getting a lot of haters. Are you ready for that, Parsons?
I've already got haters on every YouTube video, so.
Because you are almost like a modern day Kevin and Perry. Do you remember them? Harry Enfield. Oh, hello, Miss Person. Thank you, Miss Person. You know, like terrible hats, like shit, like, you know, football kits in Abu Dhabi, like a chain over the top of your football kit. Like, you're almost like...
remember, I am 19 still, so I'm progressing.
No, actually, that is true. That is true. But at 19, I was in tapered trousers and Gucci loafers, no socks.
I'm versatile, mate. We know this.
Okay.
Look, let's go into the card. Obviously, we just had the final press conference. Dimitri Bivol takes on the unbeaten Mexican and a big lump that is in Zurdo Ramirez. What do you think of this fight?
The initial press conference. I mean, yeah, look, I think that Oscar, who's just down there, I won't say it too loudly just in case he chins me, but I thought he spoke really well up there, which is like, we all want to make big fights. We all want to make great fights. And fight fans sometimes lose, not their love, because I think this is the greatest sport in the world, but lose impetus or interest in fights not getting made. I woke up this morning and I'm reading Terence Crawford and Errol Spence arguing on Twitter about pay-per-view numbers and hedge funds and deposits. And I just feel like I know that the hardcore are interested to see that analysis of why I fight, but you have to understand the bigger audience are just like, what are these guys talking about? Just fight, But it's very difficult, and I do feel a little bit of sympathy for other promoters who are involved in those fights not happening, because it's not always promoters' faults. We want to make big fights, we want to make money, but generally when a fight gets put to someone, as long as the fighter and the trainer want it, there's a great chance of it happening. But there are distorted commercial values out there at the moment that will mean that some people, like Al Heyman in that position, aren't willing to put a guarantee in place because, again, I get criticism for this. Spence Crawford's not as big as you think it is. It's massive to us, but there's another world out there.
There's a commercial world that comes with it.
Exactly.
Learning. Look, let me ask you about the whole Ryan Garcia and Tank stuff, because I suppose that also interlines, and Oscar's come out and said it's on Al Heyman's side of stuff, they're just not willing to cooperate. People on Twitter, and I suppose this is once again where the business side comes in, you can't build up someone like Ryan Garcia and then just go and throw him away, the same way that PBC aren't going to go and throw Tank to DAZN.
Contractually. But the problem is, again, I have no involvement in Ryan Garcia against Tank Davis, and I don't actually know what's happening. I'll tell you as a fan what I think is happening. PBC and Stephen Espinosa are saying we are not having DAZN involved. Why not? They've built Gervonta Davis. DAZN have built Ryan Garcia. Why not have that on a dual broadcast? It is a massive fight. Massive. Much bigger, in my opinion, than Spence Crawford. Why are Showtime or Al Heyman so against letting a DAZN fighter air that on his platform as well? And by the way, I believe if they did, the fight would happen straight away, because I believe in that instance both guys want the fight. So that's my opinion as a fan, not knowing the ins and outs, and I hope that fight gets made.
Make of Oscar De La Hoya's comments saying that he's got a list and he's ready to sort of come out and expose some people behind it didn't really give much detail. He said that I'm making a list and I'm ready to come out and expose names and people that aren't willing to cooperate and make fights happen.
I mean, look, I think Oscar's a huge name in the sport. I mean, firstly, he was one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's a little bit hot and cold. Sometimes he gives me stick, and I actually think that we've got good potential with Golden Boy, and we should have as well, by the way, because we're on the same platform, to make fights. I don't really make fights with Oscar, but I do make fights with Eric Gomez and Robert Diaz, and I really like it. I like the people that go. I think genuinely their hearts are in the right place for the sport. The problem is, it's people view other people as the enemy. And I'm not just saying it because people think, but I don't look at anyone as the enemy. I know that I've had some back and forths over the years with Frank Warren, but I'm more than happy to sit down and try and do a fight with them. And you've seen it recently with George Warren and obviously Parker Ryder. We didn't get there with Fury. But even Heyman and people like that, I don't want to pass the blame onto other people, but it's they just don't want people involved.
Do you feel like you may have tarnished this yourself? And I suppose not always, but when you came over to America, you came with a very sort of, I want to change the game, I want to come in, I want to be relentless. I know Australia, you're going a little bit differently, you want to sort of cooperate. Is that something you've maybe learned off the back?
I mean, you have to make an impression. You have to come in with noise. When you go into America, the last thing that you do is just tiptoe in and go, "Hi everyone, I'm Eddie. I've got a big budget, but I'm not going to tell anyone about it." And I'm going to go, and everyone's saying, "Oh, that's what you should have done." Bullshit. I'm an horrible, brash, loud promoter. Actually, I'm not horrible, but some people think I am. But I'm loud. I'm brash. That's my style, right? And we're number one in the world. Whatever way you want to look at it, facts. So we must be doing something right. Now the reality is, we probably have upset people along the way. But you've got to be bigger than that. And it's not just us upsetting people, because I'm not involved in the Ryan Garcia fight. So why is that fight not happening? I wasn't involved in Spence Crawford. Why is that not happening? People have got to be big enough to sit down with people and get fights made for the good of the sport, the company, the fighters, the fans, everybody. And like, I just feel like some people want to do that more than others, quite honestly. And some people just sit there behind their corporate desks and go, I am not working with them. Well, I don't care. You know, like again, I go back to Tank against Ryan Garcia. Why can't that go on Showtime and DAZN? Who cares? Do you care as a fight fan? You're going to get the option. You can buy it on Showtime, you can buy it on DAZN. You might do more buys on Showtime. Congratulations. It doesn't really matter. But as long as you get the fight. But it's like, we are not there under no... So this is what you're dealing with, Parsons, in boxing. There is no way they are getting that fight. No way. We are not, you know. And it's like, then you starve out the fight and it don't happen.
And they're aging as well, some of these.
Who?
Some of the guys like Terence and Errol Spence, you know, age is a factor, weight is a factor. 34, 35?
I think.
Maybe 35?
Okay. Yeah, Mike, go on then.
Anyway, you mentioned Frank Warren, something I wanted to bring up. It's actually nice seeing how amicable sort of the sides are, especially with George Warren. Frank Smith said it was actually a breath of fresh air dealing with him. Frank Warren himself, still, obviously, you're never going to be best mates, but I never got your reaction to the heavyweight list that he came out. I can't remember exactly what the rankings were. I think it was Fury, Usyk, Joyce, but Joshua wasn't in the top 5.
No.
There was Dubois, Joyce, and I can't remember who the...
Wilder, yeah. Look, obviously, Frank, you're just going to put your fighters in the list. It's pretty much straight on. And going back to, you know, the stuff with Frank Warren and everything, like, it's a bit different, you know. When my dad was promoting, they were rivals as well, right? So I kind of grew up in that rivalry, really. So it's not that it's been personal to me, but they've never, like, and socially I think they've got on, and I've never really met Frank, but everyone tells me socially you guys would get on, but it's just, we've been rivals. You know, now you can go through good spells and bad spells, and at the moment we're in a good spell. I don't know where that's going to go. Maybe we make more fights, maybe next week he says something I don't like, but at the moment, I think Frank Smith is right. It has been a breath of fresh air dealing with George Warren, because there's a guy that's come into the situation without the history. Yeah, like when I sat down with George Warren and started talking about fights, I didn't get the impression, like, he probably because he's grown up with it as well, probably don't particularly like me, but I could tell that was over there. You know, it was just, right, how are we going to make this fight? And that's what people need to do. When you talk about me upsetting people, don't worry about whether you like me or you don't like me. Do you want to do business? Do you want to make great fights? So when you turn up to, it's a bit like someone asked Jake Paul the other day about our lawsuit with him. We can make Serrano Taylor, and I actually don't think the lawsuit will get in the way, because Jake's just like, no, we got a strategy, we've got a deal to make, we've got business to do. And I feel like in the past, maybe the history stopped that from happening, but this changed it. Anyway, going back to the list, of course, he's not going to put AJ on his list because he wants to put his fighters in the list. And just factually, Joe Joyce, I think top 5. Yeah, I think Joe Joyce. But Daniel Dubois, right now, his best win is Nathan Gorman, right? And who is a good fighter, but is about to fight for the British Heavyweight Championship. And he got stopped by Joe Joyce quite comfortably, and we know what happened in that fight. And I'm not saying Daniel's not a talent, he's a huge puncher, but you cannot put him on any kind of list at the moment. Certainly not in front of a guy that's beaten Pulev, Ruiz, Klitschko, Dillian White, Joseph Parker, Takam, Povetkin, etc. So, but I would put my guys on lists over Frank Warren's lists, even though I didn't really believe it. It's just what we do as promoters.
I just want to rattle them off now because I know that there's more people waiting. You do that and I stop focusing. A lot of people on Twitter are saying that. Well, because that is where. But I want to ask you. I get people say, oh God. I get people saying to me like, oh, why are you not asking what we think? So people are saying this, so I'm going to bring it up. People are saying Ben Shalom seems.
We'll go back to that question once again. Just to let you know, so we can improve you. You've said to me twice or 3 times now, a lot of people are saying on Twitter.
It's discourse on the sport that we love, and I know that that's not always resonated into the business side. Ben Shalom people are saying he seems confident or speaking highly about maybe signing Dalton Smith. How are your conversations with Dalton Smith? Surely, I can't imagine you want to lose it.
Look, I think Dalton Smith's under contract with us. He's a massive part of our plans because I see Dalton Smith as one of the best talents in the UK. We lost a purse bid. He fights, can't remember the guy's name, Casey Benjamin, coming up, and then we'd like him to come back and headline on DAZN.
Eubank Jr. Liam Smith has now been reported to be discussed.
Yeah, as I understand, that's being negotiated at the moment. It's a good fight. And yeah, obviously we can't deliver the Conor Benn fight at the moment whilst his case unfolds. So we'll see what happens.
What was your reaction to Jake Paul's win over Anderson Silva?
I thought he would win. I thought he would win by stoppage. I think you have to give Jake Paul respect. I think, look, the criticism is he's never fought a boxer, and he's the light's gone out. Okay, and Anderson Silva is 47 or 48. But there are a lot of professional fighters, prospects, who fight really incompetent opposition during those first stages of his fight. So he's doing it on the big stage, he's improving, he's putting the time in. I stand by, he's not ever going to get to any kind of world championship level, but so are a lot of fighters. So I think he's good for the sport, and I think he's entertaining, and good luck to him.
Finally, Joshua Wilder, you made a sort of breakthrough earlier this week in saying that, but it comes across as that because they weren't before, which is a breakthrough. No, not Twitter.
We got a reply to an email. Yeah, look, we want to make Wilder against Joshua, whether that's in early part 2023 or later part. I do believe you'll see it this year.
Eddie Topman, thank you for speaking to the Boxing Side.